Alright, so I'm going to record a video over the coding stuff for Unit 3 that we're going to need to know since I won't be here. So let's say that they asked me how many juniors are in the data set. So the way this is going to work is normally in the test we took last week, they made the table for you, but when we code in R, we're just going to make our own table, basically. So we need to call this table something. So we're going to call it, I'm going to call it class, because I'm going to make a table of all 4 classes, and then out of that table, I'm just going to look at juniors to see how many there are. So if you want to I'm going to call it class, and if you want to create a table, it's the table command. It's pretty easy. And then it's data set money sign variable. So it's the table command, and then data set money sign variable of what we want. So the data set is Karloff in this random notes. I mean, your lab may be different, but the R homework will be out of Karloff. So it'll be Karloff, money sign, and class is going to tell me what class they're in. So when I run that, you see, like, you can't really see what happens because I named it, but I named it for a reason that I'll get to in a second. So if you want to actually see the table and see the results, you need to tell R that you want to see it. So since I named it class, if I want to actually see the table of class, I need to say, hey, R, show me class. So I just type class and hit run, and you see it pops up here in the bottom left down here. And it says that there are 22 juniors, since the question technically was how many juniors are in the data set. Okay, so I know technically we could make a group of juniors, and there's different ways to do this. But for this one, you kind of want to get used to making a table for stuff like the next question. And I know I'm having to make this video with my hoarse voice, so hopefully y'all can understand me. So we got to create a data set to show marginal probabilities of class. What is the probability of junior? All right, so we want to create to show the marginal probabilities of class. So if we just want a table, we type table. If we want a table with probabilities, we want a prop table. And prop table just stands for proportion table. So it's a table of proportions. So if you want the probabilities, we're actually not going to have to do the math, like dividing ourselves. R is going to do that for us. So if we run prop.table, we want the probabilities of class. So that's why I named the table class, because once you name the table class, I just want a proportion table of the table class. So when I run that, this one's easy because there's 100 people, so I just move the decimal place. But now I have all the probabilities of each class. So if it asks what's the probability of being a junior, I know that it's 0.22. So this one wants me to create a contingency table of both moon phase and class. So this table is going to have 2 variables in it. So I don't have to type 2 different table commands. I can just put a comma and type 2 different things inside the table. So we want to pick a name. I'm going to name it moon phase. Well, if I spell it right. Moon phase underscore class. Because the table is going to have both moon phase and class. So make sure your names make sense so you know what you're doing. But you can name it Jimmy if you want. You can name it whatever you want. So if I'm going to table of moon phase and class, I want a table, and I want it to be Karloff money sign moon phase, comma, because I want 2 different things, and I want Karloff money sign class. I want both of these things in my table, so I just type them both, and I put a comma in between. So again, it creates a class over here on the, oh, y'all can't see my mouse. In the top right on moon phase class, it creates the table. And then if you want to actually see the results down here in the bottom left in the console, you just need to type the name and press run. So if you see, now I have this big table that has all 4 classes separated by all 3 moon phases. And then it wouldn't just say, hey, create this table. Like, it would ask you a question. But that's how you create a table with 2 different variables in it, is you just put a comma and separate it. So this says create a table of conditional probabilities that shows moon phase given class. Now, real quick, I'm going to switch to this PDF. There's shout out to Jeff Kavanaugh if y'all want to watch his videos. This is the PDF document that I emailed like the second day of school, and then if you're an in-person learner, I gave you a hard copy in class. But I emailed it to you a long time ago, and I called it like our cheat sheet or our quick notes or something like that. And on this sheet, right here, it tells me right here. If I want to do conditional probabilities, I still do prop table. And then I'm going to change this table XY a little bit because we named it so we can make it easier than that. But you're going to do prop table, and you're still going to do, the difference is we have to decide if we put a 1 or a 2 at the end. And then I'm going to come back to this at the end to explain it. But if you pull up this sheet while you code, it'll make your life easier in this unit. Because I want you to look at those 2 lines. So create a table of conditional probabilities. So I want a prop table. And I want a prop table of, I didn't mean to do that, of moon phase underscore class. And then I'm going to decide, do I put a 1 or a 2 at the end? So it's still prop table and then the name of your table. But then afterwards you have to decide 1 or 2. So if we look, if you type XY, if you want y given x, then you put a 1. If you want x given y, you put a 2. So I say create a table of conditional probabilities that shows moon phase given class. So given class. Class is the second thing I typed. Class is the second thing. So I'm given y. So I'm going to put a 2. If I said this the other way, and I said, show the conditional probabilities that show class given moon phase, I would have put a 1 because I would have been given x. Sorry, my voice is cracking. I can't help it. So you're coding these 2 lines right here. It's on the front page, kind of towards the bottom. You need to be focusing on these 2. It may be confusing at first, but just stare at it. If you're given the second thing you typed, put a 2. If you're given the first thing you typed, put 1. And then we run that. And then I know these decimals are massive, but it returns all the probabilities for all of them. So instead of doing all this by hand, boom, we have all our answers. And then it says, are they independent? And the answer is absolutely not. So if they're independent, then all of these probabilities should be the same. But since they are not the same, they are not independent. Another word would be they are dependent. But the key here is we just know that they're not independent. So my next part says now we're only going to look at seniors for the rest of this. So if we're only going to look at seniors, I need to make a group that are seniors. And I know I say this, this is the 4th time we've coded, 4th unit. If you can't make a group, you need to be coming in every advisory, and we need to be making 10,000 groups, because that should be easy by now, but if it's not, we need to work to get it fixed. So it's data, seniors, so it's Karloff, you repeat yourself, then the variable that will tell us if they're seniors, which is class, and we want the class variable to equal senior, and they capitalize the S, which means I need to capitalize the S. So I run it, and it tells me there's 28 seniors. If you go up to the table, we already knew that, so I know I did it right. So now we've got a group of seniors, and I called it seniors. That way I know what in the world I'm doing later. So it says, what's the probability that a senior came into the clinic during a new moon? So if we want to do the probability that a senior came into the clinic during a new moon, we need to make a table of moon phase, because new moon is a moon phase. And we want a table of Karloff money sign moon phase. So it makes my table up there in the top right. And then we actually want a prop table because I want the probability. So this line, the first line, makes a table. And after I make the table, I can do a prop table. So it tells me the probability. Oh, I actually messed this up. Hold on. So I want seniors only, right? And no, this wasn't to test you. I just goofed. So in the table, I want a senior. So I accidentally typed Karloff, but Karloff would be out of the entire data set. And I want only seniors. So make sure you don't do what I just did. Go out of the group. We just made a senior group. So I want a table of seniors. And of the seniors, I want their moon phase. So let me redo that. So then I get a prop table of just seniors and their moon phases. So it says, what's the probability that a senior came in during a new moon? So it'd be 32, right? 0.32, blah, 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 blah. And on the all homework, they'll tell you what to round to. So basically this whole assignment, you're going to be making a group, making a table, and then making a prop table out of your table. So this one says, what is the probability that a senior came into the clinic in October? So October is a month, so I need a table out of the senior group of the month variable, right? If I want the proportion of each month, I need a table of the months. Then out, since I want probability, I want a prop table of my month table. And the probability of October is 0.107. I know I'm not here to take questions, but I hope this is making sense. If it's not, I'm at my computer. I'm just having to do online training for the University of Texas. I have to go meet with the professor and all this junk. I normally have to go to Austin, but with this COVID stuff, I don't have to go to Austin this year. So I'm at my house just on my computer. So if you're struggling, you can email or message me, and I can help you best I can through the computer. But with these notes, the R homework, I made these notes based off the R homework, so hopefully it's not too bad looking at these. So the last one, it says, given that the student is a senior, I didn't mean plural, that's bad grammar. Given that the student is a senior, what's the probability that they had a full or new moon for follow-up phase? So I need a table of follow-up phase, right? So I need a table of the seniors follow-up phase. And then I need a prop table of the follow-up table that I made. So what's the probability that they had a full or new moon follow-up?